Be me, professional freelance photographer, specializing in high-end corporate galas, exclusive weddings, and luxury brand launches. My company, Ephemeral Lenses, is known for its meticulous attention to detail and ability to capture the soul of an event, not just its surface. I run a tight ship, every contract bulletproof, every client interaction logged. Be not me, Cassandra Thorne. She was the matriarch of the Thorne Empire, old money with a freshly polished veneer of new tech wealth from her husband's last venture, a woman who saw rules as suggestions and other people's expertise as a quaint obstacle to her vision. She hired me for the annual Thorne Foundation Charity Gala, an event of staggering opulence planned for the Grand Arbor Estate, a historic property renowned for its ancient trees and strict preservation bylaws. Our first meeting was a whirlwind of entitled demands. Cassandra wanted me to not just photograph, but to curate the visual flow of the entire event space, a vague and expansive role far beyond my photography brief. "It's about synergy," she declared, waving a dismissive hand at my contract. I politely explained my role was purely visual documentation and light direction for photo opportunities, not full event design or vendor management. My contract explicitly excluded liability for such. She merely smiled, a predatory glint in her eyes, and said, "Darling, for the right price, everyone is flexible." A few weeks later, the curation demands escalated. Cassandra had decided the Grand Arbor's existing outdoor reception area was too pedestrian for her vision. She insisted on a custom-built, fully enclosed tent structure, nearly 70 feet long and 30 feet wide, positioned amidst the ancient oak trees. This was to house a silent disco experience with enhanced sound amplification. I immediately flagged concerns about local ordinances regarding temporary structures of that size in a historic preservation zone, not to mention the strict noise regulations in the residential area surrounding the estate. "Oh, it's all handled," Cassandra purred, ignoring my detailed email outlining potential permit issues and the estate's own limitations. "My team is liaisoning with the city. We simply need you to ensure the tent's aesthetics align with the estate's charm. Think seamless integration, darling." She offered a discretion bonus for my architectural advisory. I declined the bonus, but started a new, detailed log. Every email, every verbal instruction, every photo of proposed setup modifications went into a separate, encrypted folder labeled Thorne Gala Compliance Watch. The day before the event, the final straw, Cassandra decided the sophisticated, subtle uplighting plan approved weeks ago was boring. She demanded all lighting be restrung from the oldest, most majestic oak trees on the property. These trees were protected by strict historical preservation laws and delicate root systems. The estate's grounds manager, a man named Arthur, was apoplectic. He explained the weight, the potential bark damage, the absolute prohibition against attaching anything permanent or semi-permanent to the ancient specimens. Cassandra, however, was unmoved. "Arthur, darling, it's just a few lights. My vision requires this." I reiterated my refusal to directly participate in or advise on any structural or attachment decisions outside of photo staging. My job was to capture what was presented. Cassandra glared, her face a mask of barely contained fury. "Then just make sure it looks good in the pictures, Mr. Davies. And for heaven's sake, don't photograph Arthur's melodrama." I simply nodded, my camera already capturing a wide shot of Cassandra pointing imperiously at the trees, Arthur's despairing stance, and the construction crew looking deeply uncomfortable. Every instruction, every objection, time-stamped and recorded. The gala itself was breathtaking, a testament to what unlimited funds could achieve. The oversized tent glowed, the amplified music throbbed, and the ancient tree lighting shimmered. It looked spectacular, if profoundly illegal. I moved through the crowds, a ghost with a lens doing my job perfectly. I captured candid laughter, formal portraits, the intricate details of the decor, and crucially, wide shots of the massive tent and the lights strung from the ancient oaks. The next morning, I submitted my final invoice, totaling a substantial sum for my services and the agreed-upon aesthetic consultation. Within an hour, I received an email from Cassandra. "Mr. Davies," it read, "I find your final invoice presumptuous. Your aesthetic oversight was, frankly, lacking. The overall flow was not as seamless as anticipated, and I believe you failed in your contractual obligation to ensure a harmonious visual experience. Therefore, I am withholding 25% of the total." This was the breaking point. The contract was explicit. Payment due within 24 hours of event completion, regardless of client satisfaction, with non-photography related elements which were explicitly outside my scope. There was no clause allowing for withholding payment based on subjective aesthetic judgment regarding event design elements. She continued, "Furthermore, I've heard whispers of minor irregularities regarding the setup. Should any of these minor details escalate into official inquiries, I will consider your oversight a breach of contract and pursue the matter vigorously, including non-payment for the entire sum and damages. I trust you understand." The subtext was clear. Shut up about the illegal tent and the tree lights, or lose everything. Cassandra believed she had me over a barrel, leveraging the very oversight role she had forced upon me. She thought her wealth and influence could silence anyone. She was about to learn the difference between silence and methodical documentation. I went into read-only mode. The Thorn Gala Compliance Watch folder became my universe. First, my contract, fully paid upon delivery, no creative control over third-party vendors, no liability for design or structural elements. Next, the Grand Arbor Estate's publicly accessible bylaws, explicit restrictions on temporary structure size, location, and attachment to heritage trees. Then, the city's municipal code, specific sections on noise ordinances in residential zones, permits required for structures exceeding specific dimensions, and penalties for violations in historic districts. I compiled every email from Cassandra pushing for the tent, every email from her team assuring me permits were handled. I found a clause in Ephemeral Lens's own internal operations manual about client-mandated non-compliance. Employees are obligated to document all client requests that may violate local, state, or federal laws or venue policies. Direct participation in illegal activities is prohibited. All such documentation must be archived and reported to legal counsel if the client attempts to leverage said non-compliance against Ephemeral Lenses. I had been doing this for months. My discretion bonus, refusal email, the one where I stated my role was photography only, was a golden ticket. My time-stamped photos of Arthur protesting the tree lights, Cassandra's imperious finger-pointing, the tent construction, all now had a new, sharper focus. I contacted a corporate lawyer friend, explained the situation without naming names, and got confirmation of my legal standing. I had a digital paper trail so clean it practically shimmered. It happened exactly 2 weeks later. The city's code enforcement office issued a formal notice to the Thorn Foundation, citing multiple violations during their annual gala. The Grand Arbor Estate, horrified by the potential damage to its protected trees and its reputation, quickly distanced itself, providing its own records of warnings issued to Cassandra's team. The noise complaints from furious neighbors had reached critical mass. A local journalist, investigating the complaints, discovered the massive, unpermitted structure and the tree damage. He filed a Freedom of Information Act request, which unearthed the city's internal warnings that had been missed or overridden by someone with connections. Cassandra, of course, immediately went on the offensive, publicly blaming poor vendor communication and negligent oversight. She specifically name-dropped Ephemeral Lenses, and by extension me. Our primary photographer was meant to ensure all visual elements were cohesive and compliant, she stated in a press release. He failed to flag these glaring issues despite his contracted aesthetic advisory role. This was my cue. I called my lawyer. I sent Cassandra an email. "Dear Miss Thorn," it began, "I regret to inform you that your public statements are factually incorrect and defamatory. Attached, you will find a comprehensive file detailing every communication regarding the Thorn Gala, including your specific instructions, my warnings regarding compliance, and your explicit assurances regarding permits and liability." I attached the Thorn Gala Compliance Watch file. It was a single, password-protected zip archive, roughly 500 megabytes of unassailable proof. Within hours, my phone rang. It was Cassandra, her voice trembling with a fury I'd only heard hinted at before. "You absolute serpent, what is this? This is an attack. You're trying to destroy me." "No, Miss Thorne," I replied, my voice calm. "I'm merely presenting the truth. Your refusal to pay my final invoice was predicated on my alleged failure to ensure compliance. My documentation proves the opposite. It proves your direct instruction to proceed against advice, against bylaws, and against common sense. It proves your assurances that everything was handled. It proves your attempt to leverage my contract against me after you created the very issues you now face." You sabotaged me," she shrieked. "I photographed your event, Miss Thorne," I corrected, "and I meticulously documented every interaction as per my company's legal guidelines, especially when presented with requests that raised red flags. I did my job. You did not pay me. You then attempted to shift blame onto me. This is the consequence." The call abruptly disconnected. The fallout was spectacular. The journalist published a scathing expose, featuring direct quotes from my meticulously documented evidence. The city council, facing public outrage, swiftly acted. The Thorne Foundation was slapped with unprecedented fines for multiple permit violations, historical preservation damage, and noise infractions. The Grand Arbor Estate initiated legal action against the Thorne Foundation for damages to its ancient trees and reputation. Cassandra Thorne's personal event planning firm, which had ostensibly handled the permits, lost its operating licenses. My final invoice, by the way, was paid in full, with an additional expedited processing fee I had discreetly added. The company funds landed in my account before the first major news report broke. Ephemeral Lenses, thanks to my rigorous documentation, was explicitly cleared of any wrongdoing or liability, lauded by legal commentators as a model for vendor-client relations. Update: it's been a month since the gala incident. Cassandra Thorne is now facing a barrage of lawsuits. The Grand Arbor Estate is seeking significant damages for the arborists they had to hire to try and save the damaged trees. Several other vendors, who had gone unpaid by Cassandra's now-defunct event firm, have joined a class action suit. Her reputation, once an impenetrable shield, is in tatters, whispered about in every high society circle as the woman who tried to blame her photographer for her own hubris. Update 2 months on. The scale of Cassandra's financial entanglement is truly something to behold. The city fines alone were astronomical, but the civil lawsuits are draining her faster than a leaky faucet. I heard through the grapevine that her husband, furious about the damage to his venture capital, funds, reputation, and balance sheet, initiated divorce proceedings. Her opulent townhouse, the very symbol of her wealth, has been seized by creditors. The woman who once deemed me flexible for the right price is now struggling to afford legal representation. Update 3. It's been 4 months. Cassandra Thorne, the woman who commanded a multi-million-dollar charity gala, is reportedly living in a rented apartment in a less-than-chic part of town. Her name is Mud. Her social cash evaporated. Someone sent me a screenshot the other day from an obscure online marketplace. It was Cassandra, under an assumed name, selling off-designer handbags from her personal collection. The prices were laughably low. I just smiled, sipped my coffee, and filed away another successfully concluded contract. Some people learn the hard way that a meticulous paper trail is far more powerful than a dismissive wave of the hand.